Listen, Smith, you want to make it in this corporation, you got to give up your weekends. You got to push.
All right, Missy, pull it over. It's people like you that give late.
Hey, baby, are you gonna hog the court forever, huh?
Just one more.
Hey, baby, you gonna hog the court forever?
Life is short. Play hard. Reebok.
Well, there you go. And that commercial, incidentally, will go to air here during the Australian Open. Ken, and I suppose there'll be a truckload of Reebok out the front.
Yeah, I love it. The things you really want to do but never been gamed. That might just inspire us. To most observers, snow skiing is a matter of going up the hill and coming down again.
For greater growth.
The world is coming down. The flags are up. Who's gonna be number one? Who's gonna take out the cup? Who will it be? Who'll be the kings? It's a once in a lifetime chance. Who rule the world? Gotta see who rule the world.
The Benson & Hedges World Cup. Tickets on sale now.
Straight with me, led over Jackson River, be gone 3 deep. Joanne behind those, being tracked up by Final Card as they turn the corner. With me, pinch to break, straightening up, got a length on Joanne. Dittman's going after the leader now on the favourite Joanne. Joanna's coming it with me. They're clear of Jackson River. Final Card can't go on. 58.5 kilos, no trouble at all. And Joanne is storming away. Gee, she's a mare and a half. And Joanne scored easily, very close for second. Final Card or with me.
Yeah, marvellous performance. The numbers 1, 8 and 4. New South Wales TAB dividends for Joanne, $1.60 and $1.20. Final Card, $1.80. And with me, $2.10. Now for a tote update on Melbourne Race 5. Let's go to Ken Callender.
The first leg of the daily double in Melbourne is the Weight for Age Craigley Stakes, and the local Siddiston is a clear-cut favourite, although I should say originally from Tasmania. 6-4 on the tote. Dr. Grace at 7-2, Prince Salieri at 11-1, 9-2, 4.5-1 Kessam, 8-1 Brashi, 60 Al Maheb, 20-1 Purple Curse, the AJC Derby winner Durbridge at 10-1, 25 Shivers Revenge, 80 Palace Guest, and the outsider of the field, the stayer, Spring Thor at 100-1.
Thank you, Ken.
Settle back and enjoy this. It should be a real treat. Racing. Now, Desi Renford leads early here. He's followed along in turn by Rocky Balboa. It's well back in the field for Karen Pinney. Going up in front of it, Casey Jones for Ken Sutcliffe. And, here's John Newcomb making up a lot of ground on Chiquito as they swing down the back now, and Powerhouse still in front for the Channel champion, Desi Renford. Then Ken Sutcliffe from Channel 9. Campo's improving ground. Neil Campton improving ground. Gary O'Callaghan behind them. And here comes Jay Newcomb right round the outside. Oh, look at Jay Newcomb wielding the racket. It's a real John McEnroe performance. There's plenty of mug lair in this bloke. And John Newcomb down to the line is going to win sensationally. Look at Des Renford getting home when it's all over. And look at the bloke. His brother runs the Dubbo Lowe's store. Kenny Sutcliffe has finished at the tail of the field from Wide World of Sports.
But officially placed third after protest because I made the effort to make the little fella trot. Pig-rooted halfway around too, knocked off a bit of skin off the knuckle. Wasn't real happy about Casey Jones, let me tell you.
I tell you what, none of you would have got booked for speeding.
But Newcomb, all he could do when he's running past me with his racket wielding was eat my dust, Sutcliffe. I'm going to get that guy one day.
Fierce competitor.
He certainly is. One man who looked quite at home out there at Harold Park last night was Johnny Tapp. Tappy, it was a good night. Congratulations. A lot of money raised for the Variety Club.
Thanks, Ken. Yes, it was a splendid success. We're still a few days off the final count, but we're going to get somewhere between $45,000 and $50,000, I'd say, for the underprivileged children of Australia. And thanks to the great support from people like yourself, John Newcomb, Desi Renford, Karen Pinney, Neil Campton, and all of the others who turned up in force last night, Johnny Costello, Tim Webster, and Peter Graham. Good sports and very unselfish with their time when it comes to charity. I love that close-up of you, Kay Sutcliffe. Your poise and grace and balance in the trotting sulky was a sight to behold, my boy. You've got the hands of a brain surgeon. You really have.
Just an athlete, that's all, Tappy. An athlete.
What about the horse kicking you in the mitt? And it's your drinking hand, too. That was the toughest part. OK, the Craigley Stakes is coming up in Melbourne. Group 2, Weight for Age. And here's a man that hasn't been in the sulky before, but I'll get you next year, Kenny Callender.
Righto, John. Well, first things first, the Craigley Stakes. Who'll win? Dr. Grace, Citizen. There's been big money too for Kessam. Here's the prices. Number 1, Citizen, is still favoured on the tote in Victoria. I think he'll get out a little bit from that. I think he'll ease a fraction. He's at 2 to 1 at the moment. Dr. Grace, on the other hand, could firm 11 to 4, 2 3/4 to 1 at the moment. Prince Saleri, he's a 10 to 1 chance, ridden by Darren Gauci. Kessam, a little bit of rain about during the week will help him. Kevin Moses, his regular rider, is suspended, and Peter Timms takes them out on Kessam, and I can tell you he's been very well backed in the betting ring. Brashi, Michael Clark, imported horse at 9 to 1. Al Maheb at 66.0 to 1. Purple Curse is a 33 to 1 chance. Durbridge should start to do something today. He mightn't win, but you'd expect to see him running on. The AJC Derby winner, he's at 11 to 1. Shivers Revenge, a 2-mile horse, is at 33s. 100 Palace Guest, 160 Spring Thor. Down to Johnny Russell in Melbourne for the running of the Craigley Stakes.
Already settled well. They're racing. Great start too, and Durbridge on the inside was one of the first to jump out with Shivers Revenge, and Kessam got away nicely, and so did Palace Guest, and beginning well, Dr. Grace on the outsider. He's going up towards the lead, being followed by Prince Saleri, and a close up behind them on the inside is Citizen, being followed a bit further back by Brashi, who's in the all-white, and Spring Thor has dropped out to last. Around the back they go, and Dr. Grace goes to the front here. Leads about a neck on Durbridge, pushing up on the inside ahead him off as they go past the 1200. Now Durbridge is the leader. About a length, Palace Guest has gone up quickly on the outside of Dr. Grace, who's third. A length further back in the field there is a Prince Saleri, followed by Shivers Revenge, who's over on the inside, and Kessam is making some ground, and they were being followed closely by Citizen, who's up on the outside, being followed next by El Maheba. Brashi was second last, and Spring Thor is last of all. They're racing down towards the 850 now. Durbridge in front by a length and a half. Palace Guest is second, a length away on the inside to Prince Saleri. Close up behind them, Dr. Grace, and they were followed then by Purple Curse making ground. Shivers Revenge, Kessam, Citizen. A bit further back is Maheb. El Maheb, that is third last. He's over on the inside of Brashi, taken to the outside, and Spring Thor is last of all as they make the home turn. They're homeward bound now in the Craigley, and Durbridge held together by a half length. The Palace Guest looming up on the outside and looking for a run behind them. Prince Saleri. Dr. Grace appears to be travelling well. He's now making his claim down the outside. He's running on. Kessam is next to the head of the others, and a long gap to Citizen, who's under the whipper down towards the 250 metre mark, and Durbridge is the leader. He's got clear. Prince Saleri running on well. Dr. Grace can't go on. He's beaten Kessam, Citizen down the outside, but Durbridge will bolt it in the Craigley. He's drawing well clear, and Durbridge back to his AJC Derby form, wins it well. Durbridge by 2 lengths to Prince Saleri. Citizen's got up to run third, Dr. Grace fourth. They're followed home by Spring Thor, Palace Guest, and behind them Shivers Revenge and Kessam, Brashi, El Maheba, and last home is Purple Curse.
Well, I said he mightn't win today, but when he did, made his own pace in front for Greg Hall, and the AJC Derby winner Durbridge, he's back as good as ever. There he is, striding out in front. Likes the Persuader, or he certainly responds to it. Whether he likes it or not, I'm not sure. That's Durbridge out in front of Prince Saleri. Dr. Grace third at the moment, but he's had enough. Kessam in the centre, can't quite go on. And Citizen in the pink and blue, out deep, is running on strongly, and he'll grab the minor place. But all honours, certainly, with the winner, Durbridge, as he strides to the line to take out the Craigley Stakes. Second, Prince Saleri, and third, Citizen. We'll take a break now and then be back with more on the wide world of sports.
Still to come, highlights from last night's Jeff Fennick fight in Melbourne. 18-foot skiff champions Rob Brown and Phil Barnett on next week's Dash for Cash down Sydney Harbour. With the World Series just around the corner, baseball featuring the Chicago Cubs and the LA Dodgers. League coaches Canberra's Tim Sheens and Steve Martin from Norths join us live to talk about tomorrow's big game. Mike Powell leapt to glory when he broke Bob Beeman's 23-year-old world long jump record. He's on the show. Plus, rallying around Australia with a few shortcuts and the cross-country at the famous badminton horse trials. All that proudly presented by Ford. Tomorrow on the Sunday edition with Max Walker, surfing Hawaii 9-1. On Sports Sunday, Penrith's league team in preparation for their second grand final appearance. The turbulent lifestyle of Mike Tyson, weightlifting and the bureaucratic red tape that could cost us an Olympic medal. Swimmer Glenn Houseman and the struggle back to the top. Plus, diving with the man who wrote Jaws and the sport of shooting in these controversial times. All that plus the Champions of Champions competition. Today, vote for your favourite golfer, and you could win this fabulous Ford Raider or the weekly trip for two flying Ansett to the Whitsundays. Stay with us for today's winner later on the show on the one and only Wide World of Sports.
The Craig Lee Stakes, and the numbers were 8, 3 and 1. Durbridge $6.25 and $1.45 on the Victorian TAB. Prince Celery $1.25 and Siddiston 80 cents. And Ken Callander's tip for Sydney Race 6 is number 4 Pumpernickel, to be ridden by Earl Dittman. Now in AFL, the $150,000 Gloaming Stakes has been taken out by the favourite Big Dreams, who bolted in by 2 lengths from second, Elect Kinjay.
Big Dream straightens up in front of Gifted Poet. Kinjate made that bend a little bit awkwardly, and Big Dreams is able to pinch a good break at the 200 mark. He's zipped away from them. Big Dreams by 3 lengths on Kinjate, who hasn't got quite the same dash. Getting home well as Gads Hill, but it's all Big Dreams. He's going to bolt in with the Gloaming Stakes. Big Dreams beat Kinjate. Gads Hill got a rails run to get third. Fourth is Shushtar.
The numbers 1, 2 and 5. Big Dreams $2 even and $1.50 on the New South Wales TAB. Kinjate $1.60 and Gads Hill no third dividend. There you are, that's race 5 at Canterbury. We'll have more for you shortly, Ken.
To Canterbury now for race 6, the Parbury Handicap. It's over 1,550 and the runners are about to be called into line. Now, it requires about 90 seconds to post time, and we'll check out the wind tote approximate with Kenny Callender. Pumpernickel's the horse you're looking at the moment, with Mick Dittman on board.
Yes, John, I hope we're looking at him going past the winning post first. Mick's won the last 2 races on Joanne and Big Dreams. Got beaten on a couple of short ones before that. I hope he comes back or continues the good trot on Pumpernickel. Number 1, Luddenham at 9 to 1. Swain at 9 to 1. Reverse Pass is at 6.5 to 1. Almost 7s now. Pumpernickel, $3.90 between 11 to 4 and 3 to 1. 8 to 1 Pewsean. 6 Law Lyric. 20 to 1 Live Wire Lady. Marinella at 5 to 1. Before Breakfast keeps tumbling. Make that into about 7 to 1 now, and could come in a fraction more in the last 30 seconds of betting. I've got my cash on Pumpernickel, trained by Graham Rogerson, who's making a big impact on Sydney racing. And as we've already told you, of course, he's ridden by Mick Dittman. On centre screen now is Marinella, Darren Beedman's mount, and Reverse Pass over there in the pink cap. Reverse Pass hasn't quite lived up to the early promise she showed. She's ridden today by Ron Quinton, and she certainly won't lack anything in horsemanship there, John.
That's right, Ken. How true. Okay, they're about set for action. Starter Billy Dale casting a weather eye down the line. Reverse Pass is the last one to move in. Starter onto his stand, has the button, and they're set to break. Gates open, off and running, and Swain bounced out in front at the start. Pewsan and Before Breakfast fast into stride, followed by Luddenham, and then Loyal Lyric, and back behind those is Marinella caught wide in the run to the first turn. Reverse Pass a good way back, and Dittman's in a spot of bother on Pumpernickel, which is racing fiercely between horses and not getting a lot of room as they go to the back. The rider of Before Breakfast pulls up at the 1200 mark, leads by a length. Now, Dittman's elected to take off on Pumpernickel. The horse was racing very fiercely at the tail of the field, and he's whipped around the outside to go to the front now. Pumpernickel in front at the 1,000 mark by about 3 lengths on Before Breakfast. 2.5 to Swain on the inside of Marinella. Then Reverse Pass followed by Pewsan and Luddenham together, and a long way back Live Wire Lady on the outside of Loyal Lyric as they go by the 800 mark. And starting the run up the hill, Pumpernickel is the leader by about 4 to Before Breakfast. A length and a quarter away Marinella, a half to Swain on the fence, now being stoked along. Reverse Pass is making ground on the outside of Luddenham. A gap to Pewsan, followed by Live Wire Lady, and Loyal Lyric on the inside as last as they near the turn. Pumpernickel is in front about 3/4 to Before Breakfast in the centre, with Marinella going up to make a line of 3. Swain behind those, followed by Luddenham, who's flat to the boards, and then Reverse Pass. In the straight, Marinella and Before Breakfast have come away. Pumpernickel gave in very feebly, and it's Marinella and Before Breakfast. They're settling down to a 2-horse war. Marinella on the outside, Before Breakfast kicking again. They're going to the line with Before Breakfast fighting back. And Before Breakfast, after looking beaten, has come back to beat Marinella. I think Loyal Lyric third in front of Luddenham, a gap to reverse pass. At the head of the others, Pewsand, Pumpernickel, a long way back, Live Wire Lady, and last is Swain. Well, those two had a ding-dong struggle for about 150 metres, Marinella and Before Breakfast. Before Breakfast looked beaten, but raised another effort and was coming away on the line to win by about a neck. Before Breakfast, $6 and $2.10. Marinella, $2.10. And looks like Loyal Lyric third, number 6, a place dividend of $2.40. Thought that was gone, Ken.
Yes, John, just kept fighting back Before Breakfast. Pumpernickel obviously raced far too fiercely. He was beaten before the turn, and these two came away. Before Breakfast on the inside, Marinella on the outside. I don't think there's any doubt that Marinella just got slightly in front, but Before Breakfast responded to Grant Cooksley's riding and is going much the better now as they get near the post, and she's actually gone away to win by a good long neck, almost a half length from Marinella, and Loyal Lyric, I think, just gets up in time to snare third place. That's her on the outside in the black and white. But it's a photo for third, but there's certainly no photo for the win now. Number 9, the big firmer on the tote, Before Breakfast, ridden by Grant Cooksley. And you saw that, of course, on the Wide World of Sports.
Still to come, lead coaches Tim Sheens and Steve Martin on Norths and Canberra's big game at the Sydney Football Stadium tomorrow. Off to the ball game we go for a World Series appetizer between the LA Dodgers and Chicago Cubs. Mike Powell broke Bob Beeman's 23-year-old long jump record at the World Championships. It was a magic moment, as Mike tells us. Fighting some of the worst road conditions in the world, the super drivers in the World Rally Championship. They're down under for next week's Rally Australia. And we'll find out who takes the lead at the badminton horse trials in the cross country. All that proudly presented by Ford. Tomorrow on the Sunday edition with Max Walker, highlights from the Italian Formula One Grand Prix. Lou Richards reviews this afternoon's AFL game and tomorrow's second semi. Plus, Peter Sterling previews the Canberra Norths League final. On Sports Sunday, heavyweight bureaucratic red tape is hobbling Australian weightlifting. Penrith lining up for their second grand final appearance. Diving with the man who wrote Jaws. Mike Tyson fighting the fight of his life. Shooting as a sport is under the microscope. And the Vietnamese refugee at the top of the sporting heap. All that, plus our Champions of Champions competition. A phone call could win you a Ford Raider and this afternoon's weekly prize of a trip for 2 flying Ansett to the Whitsundays. Today's winner coming up on the one and only Wide World of Sports.
Time now to check the results and the New South Wales TAB dividends for Sydney Race 6, the Parbury Welter. The numbers 9, 8 and 6. Before Breakfast, $6 even and $2.10. Marinella, $2.10 and Loyal Lyric, $2.40. And Ken Callender's tip for Melbourne Race 7 is number 3, Street Ruffian, to be ridden by Shane Dye. In AFL, that second semi-final being played this afternoon, Hawthorn and Geelong really going at it. It's been up and down with both sides sharing the lead. At the minute, Geelong has the lead, 10-3-63 to Hawthorn, 8-13-61 in what is a very fitting semi-final, Ken.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. A good one there, Rob.
A chance to watch your money run around, maybe a win. Now, if you haven't already done so,
Soaking up late summer or getting back to work after the holidays. But no matter where you are or what you're doing, here's something you won't want to miss.
The stars who shone in Calgary. Downhill legend Perman Zabriggan, Alberto La Bomba Tomba,
the flying Finn Matti Newkinen and the German skating sensation Katarina Witt all became household names during that fantastic fortnight. Our Aussie bobsled team, the boys from the car park, captured everyone's imagination. And even the flying brick, Eddie the Eagle, proved that heart and humour were just as important as distance and style. Next February, Nine's Wide World of Sports will again bring you the cream of the world's winter athletes when we travel to the town of Albertville in France for the 16th Winter Olympic Games. You'll see the danger of the downhill, the beauty and grace of the figure skating, the frightening speed of the bobsled, the physical pounding at the ice hockey, the outrageous hot dogging at the moguls, and the wingless birds at the 120-metre ski flying hill. Also in February, the Aussies will be there with our own Kirsty Marshall in the freestyle aerials, Danny Carr in the speed skating, evergreen Stephen Lee in the men's alpine, and our world champion short track relay team showing the way, with top results expected in luge, cross country, biathlon and figure skating events. In Calgary, an Australian television tradition was born. In Albertville in France, that tradition will continue.
Yes, some big expectations there and a good team being sent away. And if they were running a book on some of those Winter Olympic events, you can bet that Kenny Callender would be there studying the market. Here he is right now.
Thanks, Maxie boy. Yep, coming up is the second leg of the Daily Double at Flemington, the Bobby Lewis quality and a huge field. So we better get straight into the prices. Number 1, St Jude from Queensland is at 8 to 1. Number 2, Grandiose is a 16 to 1 chance. Now on the total, the Victorian TAB at the moment, Street Ruffian is only showing 6s. Bookies are betting more than double that price. I think he's got a great hope, but he's never won at Flemington, which is one thing against him. Steria is at 16 to 1, Rakabite at 14 to 1, Kirkside at 25, Wraparound from the Colin Hay stable, a clear-cut favourite, ridden by Michael Clark. She's at 7 to 2 or 3.5 to 1 Wraparound. Rare Chance, Neville Wilson, is at 25 to 1. Piper's Bell, another Queenslander, ridden by Greg Hall, who of course won on Durbridge in the Craigley Stakes 2 races earlier. Piper's Bell is at 20 to 1. Cheval Cavalier normally likes it a little bit longer, from Adelaide at 30 to 1. My Version, well in commission, ridden by Darren Gauchi. My Version is at 10 to 1. Premier Copper. Now this horse loves it down the straight 6, and it's no surprise that he's well in the market. He's at 10 to 1 and he'll be ridden by Stan Aiken. Premier Copper, of course, is trained by Robert Smurden at Ballarat. Improved too by a couple of runs since a spell. Pug for Me, it's at 20 to 1. Pug for Me usually goes a little bit better in the wet. Track's just affected at Flemington today. He could do with it a little bit wetter. Manduke, K Forrester, a 33 to 1 chance. Freeze Point, G Robinson is at 80 to 1. Laurent D Short at 40 to 1. Our Dawn Star had a few trainers, now down with Bart Cummings in Melbourne, originally up here with Paul Sutherland, ridden by Adrian Robinson, who rode Dr. Grace in the Craigley Stakes, the young Sydney jockey. Our Dawn Star is not expected to do much, a little bit short for him, 1,200 metres, and he's at 80 to 1. Welcome Night, ridden by B. Werner, is a 15 to 1 chance. And then the 2 roughies, numbers 19 and 20. Number 19, Imperial Bounty, ridden by Dean Nicolic, the young apprentice, is at 200 to 1, the complete outsider of the field. And Deep Darkness, ridden by young Paddy Payne, another apprentice, he's at 100 to 1. Okay, they're starting to file in down there at Flemington. About half the field in, of course. Sometimes in these straight 6 races, half the field goes to the inside and half to the field goes to the outside. I'm not exactly sure what they'll do here. Earlier in the day, the trend seemed to be that the inside was perhaps the better today, but that probably won't stop 1 or 2 getting wide. Okay, about 2/3 of the field in, still waiting for about 6 or 7, but I think it's an opportune time to cross to Flemington, the headquarters of Victorian Racing, and our caller, John Russell.
And Grandiose is still out, and we welcome viewers to Channel 9, Wide World of Sports, taking the second leg of the Daily Double here in Victoria, the Bobby Lewis quality. We've seen a great run by Tierce, and thanks to Ken Callender. Manduke has gone in, waiting for Cheval Cavalier, and Grandiose coming up. Favourite for the race Wraparound, drawn about the centre of the line. Field of crack sprinters engaged. Grandiose, a Newmarket winner. Chevelle Cavalier coming up, extreme outside, so they'll soon be set for the Bobby Lewis quality. Terce establishing a record, a race record in winning the Ascot Vale Stakes, the previous event. Now they're set to go. The Bobby Lewis quality. Rechabite on the inside. Storaya, there's the light. They're racing. And Rechabite, one of the first to jump out in company with Storaya, and wraparound began very quickly and out very fast. Also is St Jude working his way across, and they were being followed closely by Street Ruffian, who began well. Manjuk is just in behind them, and they were followed a bit further back by Rare Chance and Grandiose going very fast from the outside, followed by Piper's Bell, Laronti and Imperial Bounty. 850 metres left to go, and Pug for Me has worked his way to the leader. Just in advance here of St Jude is very prominent, and so too is Street Ruffian on the outside, and they were being followed then by Rechabite, and Welcome Night is up in that leading group, followed by Wraparound, who's about 5 off the fence, but going to the leaders. Kirkside is in behind them as they come onto the course proper, followed by Premier Copper and Storaya. And they were being followed by Rechabite as they come down towards the 300-metre mark. There's a lone one down the outside, Chevelle Cavalier. Over on the flat side now, Street Ruffian has taken the lead from St Jude, and Premier Copper's running on well, and Wraparound in the picture also. Premier Copper just in advance of St Jude, followed by Premier Copper as they come down with 100 metres left to go. Street Ruffian is clear of Premier Copper and St Jude. Rechabite. Street Ruffian, the leader, will be too good. Premier Copper trying hard, but Street Ruffian won the Bobby Lewis from Premier Copper. Rechabite, I think, run third from Our Dawn Star and St Jude close up, and they were followed by Manjuk, and further back to Wraparound. Then came Deep Darkness, followed by Grandiose, and further back then is Kirkside, followed by Pug for Me. The next home is Storaya, Welcome Night, followed by Fair Chance. A long way back to My Version, Piper's Bell, Imperial Bounty, Chevelle Cavalier, and Laronti, one of the tail enders.
Well, that might keep Maxie Walker quiet. That was a Channel 9 selection, Street Ruffian. Unfortunately, he was at a lot bigger price with bookies at the track than he was on the TABs, both in Melbourne and Sydney. That's Street Ruffian in front. Premier Copper trying to run him down, but Street Ruffian, ridden by Shane Dye, who won earlier on Terce, found plenty in the shadows of the post and went on to win quite clearly from Street Ruffian. Close for third, possibly Rechabite just getting there in time. But no doubt about the first two over the line. Street Ruffian is first and Premier Copper second. That's the second leg of the Daily Double in Melbourne. Shortly, the second leg at Canterbury on the Wide World of Sports.
Time now to check the results and the Victorian TAB dividends for Melbourne Race 7, where the numbers were 3, 12 and 5. Street Ruffian, as tipped by Kenny Callender, $4.45 and $1.45. Premier Copper, $1.60, and Rechabite, $2.10. And Ken Callender's tip for Sydney Race 7, number 6, Princeville, to be ridden by Mark de Montfort. In AFL, the second semi-final of the afternoon being played between Hawthorn and Geelong, and what a cracker this one is. Geelong got their nose in front, 11-9-75 to Hawthorn 10-14-74. Could it be any closer? That is the question. OK, time now to go out to Canterbury for the next, and here's John Tapp. John.
Thanks, Ian Maurice. I think this is the toughest race of the day on paper. Any one of 6 or 7 can win. Lord Revan is a horse, Ken, I thought might run some sort of a race over this trip. By the way, the totes were a little inaccurate on the previous race because of a computer malfunction. We apologise for that, but we're back to normal now, Ken.
OK, no excuses this time. John, you think there's 6 chances? I reckon there's probably 10. But I've plumped for Princeville. Mark de Montfort's mount improved by about 3 runs in. The latest run at 1800 should be as fit as he can be this time. Let's look at the prices. Number 1, Justed Answer at 6 to 1. Number 2, Centro at 14. Coconut Ice is at 9 to 1, out to 10 to 1. Hammond has just firmed a fraction into 6.5 to 1, 13 to 2. Lord Revener, the horse John spoke of, perhaps he needs one more run, but he's starting to firm up now, and he's also in from 8s to about 13 to 2. Princeville, $6.40, almost 11 to 2. I've got my cash on him. 9 to 1 Willie Tell, who beat him last start at Newcastle. 100 to 1 Lord Zorito. Jewel Treasures, yeah, coming in a couple of points. We make her about 14 to 1 now. Plum Jam at 9 to 1. Impressionist at 11. Maharaja at 7. Siegfried at 30 to 1. They're about to jump. Your caller, Johnny Tapp.
It's the Civil and Civic Kingston Town Stakes. Group 3, lights flashing on top. Track cleared, stalls open, off and running. Good start. Just a Dancer and Willie Tell, if anything, a shade slow to move. Maharaja bounced out in front of Dual Treasures, and heading towards the lead is Plum Jam soon after the start. Centro and Hammond are prominently placed, and Coconut Ice is not too far away. And Princeville is trapped out very deep in the run to the winning post, where they've slowed suddenly. Plum Jam just led Hammond. Princeville 3 and 4 deep on the outside of Centro and Maharaja. A length